Hi, I'm Dr. Gwen. I'm a clinical psychologist who's been empowering disabled individuals, their families, and their support systems for over 20 years. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel, where I curate tools, share mindsets, and promote habits to help the neurodiverse community thrive. Also, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a thing. In this video, I talked to Alexis, Joanne, and Janet from Climb. Climb is an organization that provides residential living and day programs for individuals with visual impairments and developmental disabilities. Joanne and Janet, both residents of Climb, give us a first-hand view of their experience and how this unique community has supported them to live their absolute best lives. Joanne and Janet are inspirational, showing us that anything is possible. I hope this interview touches your heart as it did mine. Enjoy. Hi, Alexis, Joanne, and Janet. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gwen.
Well, maybe what we can do is get started by each of you telling us a little bit about yourselves.
Sure.
Okay.
Would you like to go first, Jan?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I've been at, I come from the state of Nebraska, and how I heard about Climb was through my aunt and uncle that lived out here in Manhattan Beach, California. There was nothing in Nebraska at that time. I was going to Southeast Community College at that time when my parents looked at Climb, and they said, Janny, we think you're going to like it. At that time, there was a beauty shop next door. Community church, the Congregational Church, and the beauty shop. I came to Climb to Live September 28th, 1981, and I've been here 39 years.
Amazing.
Thank you. And through Climb, I started out in the main building for 8 years, moved to the halfway house at Pride for another 8 years, and now I'm at the 158 West Montecito apartments.
Great.
Joanne, do you want to?
Okay, my name is Joanne Seaman. I was born in Evanston, Illinois. That's outside of Chicago. And well, I started out my life, I went all through a sighted nursery school and kindergarten. And then I went first to fifth grades in regular public school, but they had a resource teacher, a special teacher who knew Braille, the Braille books. There was a room with the Braille books, and she would tell the teacher what she would do is she would read the papers and then correct them for the teacher and grade them, because a lot of the teachers didn't know Braille. And I did have a fourth grade teacher who took an interest in me, who learned how to do the Braille numbers. And then I went to Perkins School for the Blind. You've probably heard of it. It's in Watertown, Massachusetts. And that's where Helen Keller went, by the way, many years ago. And I stayed there for 2 years. During my second year, my parents decided to go to Tucson, Arizona for the winter because they had health problems, and the doctor decided that they should go to a warmer climate. So in my seventh grade year, I started at the Arizona State School for the Blind and Deaf in Tucson, stayed there till high school graduation. Then I went to Tuller Episcopal College. It's not there anymore. It was part of Tuller School, nursery school through college. But the school, I think, now goes kindergarten through 8th grade. And then I graduated with my Associate of Arts degree from Tuller College in 1972. And then I also went to the University of Arizona, where I was thinking about going into rehabilitation. I took some psych classes. I had to drop out because I needed a rest. And then Leela Katz, she's my roommate. I've known her since she was a baby. We've known each other since we were kids. Our parents were very good friends. And right after Leela's mother died, her father remarried and moved to California. And when Mr. Katz realized that his wife was dying of lung cancer, Leela had a twin sister who also passed away, but he couldn't look after the girls together. And he put her twin sister lives in a home, Martin Luther home, which is for the handicapped. It's now Bethany Mission, and it's in Beatrice, Nebraska. And after his wife died, he eventually sent Leela because he felt if anything happened to him, at least she would have a place to live. She does have an older brother who lives in Massachusetts, but he and his wife had a small child. Now they have 2 grown kids. But so in the meantime, they were looking into schools in California. They wanted the kids near home. So my father called Mr. Katz and said, Maury, you're looking into a place for the twins. Let me know when you find something. I'm thinking about sending Joanne to California. So finally, her stepmother, Shirley, got on the ball. She called the Ventura County Regional Center, that Ojai, as you know, is Ventura County. And the lady, she said, we have blind twin girls. Is there a place we can put them? Well, the lady at the mental health center, no, she called the mental health center, I'm sorry. She called the mental health center first. And the lady at the mental health center said, we don't deal with that. We deal with people who are mentally unhappy. Why don't you call the Ventura County Regional Center? That's what I was trying to say. So she called Ventura County Regional Center, and the lady said, well, there's a new school called Climb. It just opened up on July 1st. Now, this was on July 15th, she called. This was back in 77. But she said, I don't know too much about it, but it's run by a man named Bill Young. So Mr. Katz called Climb. And then he called my dad, and he said, Joe, there's a school that just opened up in Sierra Madre, California. It's run by a man named Bill Young. And then he called about a couple of weeks later. He said, Joe, I just visited Climb. They have 17 students. They're licensed for 36. If you want to get Joanne in, you better get her in now because they're filling up fast. So my dad got on the phone and made the hotel and plane reservations. We flew to Climb the next day. A day later, we visited Climb, and Mr. Katz decided to enroll the twins there. And my dad enrolled me. Leela and I were roommates because that's the way our folks wanted it. And then Leela moved in 79. She moved to a house called Pride, Program for Residential Independent Development Expansion, where she lived with some other students. They learned to cook and clean. Then she and a couple of girls got their own apartment. And then she moved up to the houses here and back of the school. What happened was this man called Bill, and he said, I'm moving to North Carolina, and my folks left me this property. I don't want it. Could you use it? And Bill said, yes, we could. So my dad and Mr. Katz, Maury Katz, Leela's father, helped Bill pay for the houses. So Leela and I moved up here. We're roommates to this day.
Amazing. Amazing. And we even got to hear a little history of Climb too. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm Alexis Boxer. I'm the director of operations at Climb. As you heard from both ladies, Climb has been around since 1977. We are a family operated business, and that's correct. Bill Young started the company, and I am Bill's daughter, so I have taken up the reins and continue to work at Climb. Climb has really been my life. I grew up coming to Climb. Joanne will tell me all the time how she remembers the day I was born. So these ladies have been part of my family essentially for many years now, as many people who came here in 77 still live at Climb. Many. So yeah, it is really like a big family. I think that's probably the most special part about it. We're a community. We specialize in serving individuals with blindness or visual impairments, but that's not exclusive. We have a lot of folks who come here because they fit in with the peer group here for a variety of reasons and interests. A lot of people like Climb too because of our location in Sierra Madre, which is an incredibly safe and welcoming and inclusive town. So since we've been here since 77, businesses have really opened up their arms and have welcomed our residents, assist them to navigate through the community as individuals familiar with Sierra Madre might see residents cane traveling down the street. So it's easy and there's so many resources here. And it's got that small town feeling. So it's really been the ideal location to have everybody. And it's been a wonderful relationship with the town since we've started here. So that's my introduction. I'd love the ladies to talk more about their stories, or if you have any questions.
Yeah, maybe what we can do is even start with, so Alexis, you briefly described what Climb is. And I wonder if you can go a little bit more into describing your program, or the residential piece or the day program piece. If you could go into that and just describe Climb's program, that would be great.
So yeah, Climb is actually made up of two organizations. Climb Inc. Comprises our residential programs, and we have a variety of programs. We have supported living services. We have different adult residential facilities, and we have two locations. So we have a main campus here in Sierra Madre, and we work with San Gabriel Pomona Regional Center up here. And then down in Alhambra, we also have a campus where we are vendored through Eastern Los Angeles Regional Center. And through both regional centers, we offer licensed facility care, and we also offer supported living. Our largest licensed facility is a 40-bed facility here in Sierra Madre. It's large, but it is a very unique program, and it has consistently through the years received waivers to continue to operate at its larger size because it's such a valuable resource here in the community, and it always has a pretty full wait list because people love to come in and just take advantage of everything the program has. Behind the facility here, you might have heard Jan and Joanne talk about their homes, their apartments. There is an apartment building where our SLS program takes place. So we have 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom apartments back there. And then down in Alhambra, we operate 6 specialized residential facilities. So for individuals that need a little bit higher level of care, we have 24-hour care. It can provide all of the support anybody may need. So up here in Sierra Madre, we tend to have our most independent folks, and our support can range from just an hour here and there during the week to a couple hours per day to 24-hour care when necessary. Our day program services are under the organization Climb Transition Services. And so we have 2 day programs. Our Sierra Madre program is a vocational program, and we have 60 individuals in that program up here. Many do come from Climb. It's right next door, so it's convenient, so they can come right next door to go to their day program. And that program offers work support, so we do offer employment and bring in contract work, as well as have individuals that do clerical work and janitorial work and landscaping around our facilities. We actually go out in the community and do real hands-on work through learning and volunteering and recreation. And then in Alhambra, we have a behavior support program. And that program, we work with individuals with, moderate to severe needs for behavior support. And we don't currently offer employment in that program, but we do a lot of volunteer work with Meals on Wheels, and we've had different contracts in the past. So we do get out and do most of our community learning that way.
That's fantastic. And Alexis, are you guys running things as usual during the pandemic?
No, things are really different right now. Basically, we don't go out for our day programming. We are continuing to serve individuals from Climb here on site, and we are bringing work in that can be completed here, fortunately, so individuals can keep earning their paycheck that they're used to. But yeah, we've had to stop any sort of community outings, as most places have. And
Yeah.
frustrating, but everybody here has been pretty understanding that, we have to do what we got to do to be safe.
Yes. I see that a lot right now, at needing to adapt and adjust. And it's hard. It's hard because going into the community is such a big part of a program. So sounds like you guys are doing the best you can with that for sure. Are you guys at capacity for all of your programs?
Right now, we are at capacity, although we have a wait list and we process that pretty regularly. So it depends on the type of program. And it also depends on the fit. So with our SLS program, we have to look at the rooms we have open, also the fit with roommates. So that program, it can be a little harder to get into just because all those things have to align well. But fortunately, we have stayed pretty full, and everybody's been very healthy, and as we're a unique community here. So as a lady said, we tend to attract residents from sometimes out of state, from across California, that are coming for the support that we offer for visual impairments. So that's how we're known.
Yes. Well, maybe what we could do now is, Joanne, let's go to Joanne and Janet, but maybe we'll start with you, Joanne. What's been your experience at Climb? As Alexis is talking about all your wonderful programming that's happening there, maybe you can share your experience of being at Climb.
I used to work in the workshop, and then I got promoted to teacher's aide. So I worked with some of the students and who are, I'm not trying to criticize, make fun of anybody, but some of them are very severely handicapped. So I would teach them Braille. And I had one adult that I'd go A space on the Braille writer. And I would go, okay, let's go A space. And I would read with them. Some of them are pretty good Braille readers too. And I would just help around wherever I could. And then they gave me a job as phone operator. And I had the 3 to 5 shift until last March, until they said I couldn't work anymore because of the virus. But I had also had a telemarketing job. I worked at a place called American Handicapped and Disadvantaged Workers. This was a place for people who could not get jobs because of a handicap, or they had been in prison. Of course, a lot of people will not hire people who've been in jail. But at this place, when they came in, by the way, this place is in Pasadena, it was, the office is closed down. It was at 24 South Los Robles, if you know where that is. And when they came into this American Handicapped and Disadvantaged Workers, they'd say, my name is Tommy Jones. I can't get a job. I'm having trouble with that. They would say, well, here, fill out an application. And of course, in that application, that would ask if they had been in trouble with the law. And even if they had, they would still have a job. this is what this place was all about. In fact, it was started by a woman in a wheelchair who could not get a job because she herself was disabled. And one thing I liked about this job was I could call all over the country. I called Illinois, New York, Florida. I'd tell a little bit about myself, and I did make some sales. And then I decided I'd gone as far as I could with that job. I came back to Climb, and I got my old job back on the 3 to 5 shift. Yes, I was on the board of directors, and I would tell what all the students were doing, and I had meetings with Bill, Alexis's dear sweet daddy. I better say nice things with her sitting here. And well, I'm just joking.
You just be honest.
No, he's a great guy. I don't know what we'd be if it wasn't for Climb. He started it. And I was on the board of directors. I would tell what the students were doing and if they had any complaints, and I just loved it.
And one thing Joanne has been really great about over the years is she's really like an ambassador for Climb, and she has done a lot of teaching in classrooms. She's visited local schools. She's done interviews for newspapers several times.
I had my picture taken with the mayor last Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes, like Alexis said, there was a school in, I believe the school, Foothills Middle School. They'd heard The Miracle Worker, which is the story of Helen Keller, if you've probably seen it. And the teacher knew about Climb. So Mrs. Kramer, she lived here in Sierra Madre. So she asked, could some students come out to the school? So we had one student play the organ for the kids. They were middle schoolers, they now call it. And then I read some Braille for them. And Jan did her project. So then she called Climb and said, could Joanne Seaman come and volunteer? And she had somebody pick me up and take me to the school and bring me home. And then another time I did volunteer work in Azusa. One of our staff who left Climb to become a resource teacher, she wanted someone who could be a role model. So she called James Stewart, who was director at the time. And I worked with some really nice young kids. They drove me out to the school for a while, and then I took excess services, and they brought me home, and I met some really nice kids. And when one of them made her first Holy Communion, I went to her party afterwards. I also went to the service.
How about you, Jan?
Okay. When I first came, I worked in the academic part of the program. There were did some ADL with a staff member. One of the things she said, do you want another ADL teacher? And I thought to myself one night, I've been there a year. No, you got to learn, Jan. You've got to learn. The reason why I came to Climb was I couldn't. I wanted to do whatever a lot of young people wanted to do. And my parents said, okay. We are looking into Climb, give us a chance. Dad got me prepared. He said, you're not going to have your way when you come here. You will do what they want you to do. You're not going to argue with them. I would argue a lot. And as your dad would say, Bender, when are you going to learn? Well, then I worked went to school at PCC doing government for 6 months. And then I went to Alcoa. Before that, I went to Valley Light Workshop. Well, I didn't like it, so I said, I want to come back here. Well, some of us from the Valley Light program came back here. But your dad had us understand, okay, you're not going to be drinking coffee. One of the clients did that, but he said, okay, but you're not going to be having coffee breaks every time. Okay, you will be with a group if you want it. And I said, I'm staying with the group. Well, then I did that. Then when we went into DTAC program there, which is to get a job out in the community, Bill did, one of the job coaches said, couldn't you go with me to the lunchbox? Because a couple of clients are going. I said, yes, I will. So that's what I did. I went with her. Living at Pride, the last year, I said, I want to move out. I want to move in the back apartments. Well, here, when it was independent living, I came home and Mom said, you gained a lot of weight back. Why? Well, when it came to SLS, I was at the gym program. I walk in the day program. I do my crafts. I go to church on the weekends online, 2 churches, Bible study on Wednesday nights, and Tuesday afternoons.
Jenny, do you want to talk about your role on the advocacy?
Yes, I was the president of the day program, and I let them know that, look, this is the way it goes, because sometimes we were short of staff at the time. Keeping the meeting order was a little difficult, but I did it.
We were super proud of Jan when we started our advocacy committee about 2 years ago. She expressed an interest in heading it up. So she had to give a speech to all the residents, and there was a vote. And I think you recently stepped down, but you led the group for quite a while.
Yes, I had to step down because due to the fact Philemon didn't know that I was going to retire from the day program.
Okay. So, but she did a great job heading that up, the first president of our program. And it was great because the residents got an opportunity to really come together and guide the programming and decide the activities that were going to be offered, and parties and the food, all down to those little details. So that's been great. And like Jan said, she's retired now. We do have several people who are of retirement age, and that's something we've supported. So she does activities at home in the community, but isn't actively in the program right now. And Joanne, I wanted to touch on your role as a ham radio operator.
Yes,
as well.
I'm a ham operator, but I wanted to add a few things.
Okay.
When the student committee got going at Climb back in '77, I was the first president. And I held that position for a year. We held a talent show for our parents the day before Thanksgiving of '77. And
here's what I found.
Go ahead.
And later, I became secretary of the student committee. And then also we put on a talent show for the fire department, as well as a talent show for the townspeople. I composed music, so I wrote a little song for the fire department. I don't know if they still have the tape or not, because the fire chief, I think, has retired by now. And but one of the boys did a siren. But I composed music. I composed a song about Climb. And as Alexis said, I am a ham operator. My father wanted me to get into it because I had an uncle who was into it. And my uncle sent my father a ham radio, and he could, and the books of how to become a ham, and he couldn't understand it. So after he died, I took it up in memory of him. In order to become a ham radio operator, you have to have all 3 licenses. Well, it isn't required to have all 3, but you can. But you're supposed to have the tech license, which is a technician license, which is a beginning license. You're not supposed to operate on the air without that. And then if you want to, you can get your general license and your extra, which is the highest. I have all 3. In fact, I attended classes at the Braille Institute in LA until they closed down on last March. And I took ham radio classes there. Then I joined an organization called Courage Handy Hams, which teaches people with disabilities how to become operators. In fact, they have a camp where you can learn this. They go to classes and they take a test on the day before they go home. But they also do other activities. They go to lectures. One day we went to a movie. We also last summer, we didn't have camp this summer because of the virus. Last summer we got our toenails done, us ladies, and the night before we take the test, we have a little talent show to unwind, let's put it that way. And if you pass your test, you get a certificate of completion, and then the FCC does send the license. They send it by email now. And boy, it is just a thrill when people pass their tests and they get, I passed, you hear that all over the country.
Wow, that is amazing.
I have talked to people all over the world, in England and Australia, Scotland. They're having the pandemic too, and they have lockdown too. And the kids, I talked to one fellow who has a disabled son. He said the school was closed down because of the pandemic, and they sent him home with work to do on the computer.
Incredible. So you are finding ways to connect with people all across the world.
Oh, yes. Yes, I am. In fact, we had the camp up at Handy Hams camp up at Camp Joan Meyer. Of course, then the property was sold. And then we went up to Northern California and had the camp. But now we go to camp in Minnesota. We had many years, we had it up in Lake George, which is northern Minnesota. Camp Courage North, we called it. And then we had to have it down south because it was being used for a camp for physically disabled just outside of Minneapolis. We all wanted Camp Courage North. So when Lucinda Moody became director, or she's visually impaired herself, she's a ham, we said, we want Courage North. Okay, you're going to get it. And that's where we went summer before last.
Amazing. Amazing. You know, maybe what we could do, I always end off with this question, but it feels right to do it now, which is, you know, Joanne and Janet, you guys sound like you are living your best lives here. You're happy and joyful. What kind, if you could help other people or encourage other people to do that, what skill or what attitude or mindset would you say you should have in order to live your best life?
I think basically learn to get along and learn to accept criticism.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that too, and I would say to go to Braille Institute because they have wonderful classes there, cooking and sewing, but also have well, they're not open now, but they had a class called Living with Visual Loss, which is taught by Nancy Hutchins, and she is not blind herself, but she teaches others how to live with visual loss and how to help their families cope with it. And if somebody is scared to be around a blind person, or they don't know how to communicate, she'll say, listen, well, you have to show them that blind people can talk, communicate just like anybody else. And you've got to show this person that blind people can play the piano and can do all sorts of things. And she understands how it feels when a person loses their eyesight. And she understands the anger they feel. And why did this happen to me? And she says, this is only normal for you. You lost your sight, and you're 40 years old, and this is normal. But you gotta learn that. But here, you've got to learn that you can cope with blindness and live like anybody else. In fact, I strongly encourage that. You tell your patients if you have any patients who are going blind, tell them about Braille Institute, because it's a wonderful place. Unfortunately, we had ham radio classes. I took them there. It was my teacher who encouraged me to go to the camp because he'd been in there himself. And so we don't have ham radio because there wasn't enough interest, but tell them that Braille is a wonderful place and they understand how it is.
Another thing I like to put in too, it's how you would act to accept losing your sight. You have to move on. You have to say, okay, I'm going to move on. I got to do it. I didn't like the attitude. I don't want to embarrass you, Alexis. I didn't like the attitude going out to the outside patio for the interview, but I said, what do folks say if I was in the bathroom? And I was thinking, what do folks say? Or any of the staff say, well, how come Joanne did the interview and you did not?
So we decided to move our interview with you outside. It was going to be in their house. And I said, I think it's best if we're all sitting here, that we are in an outside environment. And Janet felt apprehensive. And I said, it's up to you. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to do it. But she talked to herself this morning and said, I'm going to do it. And that's a skill Janet uses a lot, where she uses positive self-talk to encourage herself when she might feel nervous. But she did it. So she's out here. And I think that's listening to the two ladies talk about climb and encouraging others. I think I would chime in and say that that's really one of the most powerful skills I see, is just having the courage to try something new, get out of your comfort zone, even though it's not always easy. I see so much growth when people can do that. And we have such a positive environment here. And I'll say that everybody has something to offer. There's so many people here with amazing skills that can tell you what day of the week it was, in 1977, or can play the piano, or can remember amazing amounts of information. So we all have our strengths, and it's really wonderful to see that in action.
Yeah, and another thing, excuse me, Alexis, I would like you to, if you run into any patients who are losing their sight, Dr. Gwen, tell them Braille Institute has a wonderful library. All they have to do is they will send a digital machine free of charge. They can get a catalog, and digital tapes free of charge. And it's just and all they have to do is have it mailed to them, and then they can, after they're done, they can just mail the book back from anywhere in Southern California, anywhere in LA, or anywhere. And there is a toll-free number they can call. So call me if you have a patient who is going blind, and I'll be glad to help you out.
That is so awesome. I mean, just the it's so inspirational, you know, the idea of being courageous and using your resources and really believing in yourself and talking to yourself about doing things that might be hard but really rewarding is such a positive message. What a special place Climb is.
I also went to the gym called Movement Unlimited during the day, but not anymore. But when the pandemic is over, I'll go back to it. I know I will.
Yes, that's something great to look forward to. So something you missed and something that you'll look forward to.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
And I have a radio. It's called a Bullfang radio, and I turn it on, and it says channel mode. It's made in China, and it says channel mode, and it doesn't tell me my frequencies, unfortunately. But I've made friends with a very nice ham operator in Altadena who comes and helps me program it so I wouldn't mess it up. I've done that a few times, trying to, and then he takes me. I belong to an emergency net, and Altadena Emergency Net. I report to that every Monday evening at 8 o'clock. When we had the earthquake 2 weeks ago, I turned on the radio. Nobody was there, but they said, well, it was so small, we didn't have to worry about it. But when we had the earthquake, the aftershock from the earthquake last 4th of July before
I remember that.
this one, I turned on the repeater, and they said, oh, we felt it, and I said, yes, I felt it here. And this is what we're all about. So that if we should have a 7.5 earthquake or so, then we will know what to do. In fact, I participated in an the earthquake shakeout drill, which we're going to have on October 15th, by the way. And we make up a situation, but we say our call sign, and we say this is only a drill, so the sheriff's department doesn't come out and what, thinking it's real. We make up a story, and then but this is it's a practice, like a fire drill.
Mm-hmm.
We also had a evacuation drill last Sunday. See who can get out of the house fast. We also had an earthquake drill.
Yep, you guys are practicing for all those emergencies and ready. You're at the ready. Alexis, you had mentioned earlier that a lot of your residents and a lot of your day programming is funded through the regional centers, 2 specific regional centers. Is this how most of your residents and participants in your program access Climb?
Yes, nearly all of our residents do come through the regional center system. Right now, we're about 99% regional center funded exclusively. There are a couple cases where we have private pay clients that are in our programs. Joanne is one of those individuals because she isn't a regional center client, but she has attended Climb because she fits in with the group and the mission of the organization. So, but for the most part, yes, anybody who is within the regional center system can learn about our programs from their service coordinator, is welcome to come see what we're about. And yeah, that's how we've operated.
That's awesome. And Alexis, what is the best way, if people are listening to this interview and are interested in Climb, what is the best way to find out more about Climb or to reach you?
Yeah, most definitely. We do have a website that you can check out our programs. We have Climb-Inc, climb-inc.com. And we have climbtransitionservices.org. That's for our day program services. That might be a good place to start. But like I said, if anyone is a regional center client, they can talk to their service coordinator and request information about our programs. They're welcome to reach out to me directly, and I'd be happy to share any information or bring anybody for a tour.
One of the things
Awesome. Go ahead,
One of-
Janet.
they asked my folks, has Jan been in trouble with the law?
And were you in trouble with the law, Jan?
No, I had some slight breakdowns, but who knows? And Dad said, she'd come out of it. And that's one of the things that Bill had to know. Was your daughter ever in trouble with the law? And Dad said, no. How can they have to know that?
Oh,
Well, I'm not, that was a long time ago, and I'm not so sure that that's a question that we typically ask anymore, but times have changed a little bit. I think, though, that we just want to make sure that we can meet everyone's needs the best that's interested in our programs. So that's what I think that was getting at the time.
And at that time, we were told when I first came that Climb was the last hope. I could kind of see why they said it now. Because to get us to learn to accept things better.
well, also, if anybody wants the number, now Braille is closed right now, but people are working from home and they're still up, although some people do come down to Braille. And Braille Institute is located at 741 North Vermont Avenue in LA, downtown Hollywood actually, but they use LA as a mailing address, and the zip is 90029, and the area code there is 323, telephone number 663-1111, and they can give you the number of the library. It's toll free, as I've said. They will give you the numbers of Reed Strage, who is director of library services, and Tina Herbison, but they're working from home, but they check the voicemails. Also, if anybody want to learn more about ham radio for people with disabilities, then they should go to Courage Handy Hams. They do have a website, www.couragehandiham, handiham.org, or they can call. They do have an e-letter. I don't know if they're doing the e-letter. Everybody's working from home now, and they can learn more about it. That's out of Golden
Awesome.
Valley, Minnesota.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you so much. I wrote all that down, and what I'll also do is put all of that information in the description of this video so that people can access it. Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Alexis, Joanne, and Janet, for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
And stay tuned for station
And
identification.
stay safe, Dr. Gwen.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you're interested in finding out more about Climb, their information is in the description below. I've also included a link to my website where I add additional impressions and insights of this interview. If you got any value from this interview, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Doing so helps to get this information to others just like you. And also, if there's a topic or a program that you want to know more about, leave it in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next video.